Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 22 My Team career mode. This is the Spanish Grand Prix, round 5 of the championship. So once again we're starting off with the Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge and we are doing an autocross one this time. It was this or another drift, and drifting is certainly not my best friend, so we're doing autocross once again, and I actually enjoyed this one. This particular one was quite fun. We've got an Aston Martin to play around with, which sounds amazing by the way, this car. But yeah, almost took a wrong turn there, but we're managing our way through so far. This did take quite a few attempts to get this run and to learn the layout of all of the gates we have to drive through. Thankfully we don't have to do a full lap of this. It's, I guess, the first 2 sectors roughly of the circuit that we have to drive through, otherwise it would take forever. But anyway, the target time to get gold is 1 minute 50, and if we knock any of the bollards it'll be a 5-second addition to our time. We're almightily close there. I don't know how we got away with that, and that was very, very lucky. But anyway, we continue to make our way through, and we are still getting used to the sports cars again. They are certainly not as responsive as the Formula 1 cars, I can tell you that, but I still very much enjoy driving them. But anyway, as we now head through the last few corners of the challenge, I'm going to stop talking here for a moment because have a listen to this. We definitely hit one of the bollards there, but anyway, that didn't give us a penalty luckily, but we do eventually cross the line and we get the gold award, so that is all good. I don't know how we got away with that bollard though. That was incredibly lucky. But anyway, that is a job done. Even if we did, we still would have got gold. 1:41, we smashed the gold time. So anyway, that is cool. But anyway, let's get into the Formula 1 race weekend itself. And we've got a new livery on the car, which you'll see in just a moment. We're going to continue the trend of updating the livery every round or two. Might not do it every single round because that might be a little bit much. But anyway, we've gone for blue, white and red, the colours of the Australian flag and about 34 other countries. And those will be the colours we will sport for the next round or two. And for the first time we've actually changed the template as well, not just the colours. So yeah, that's fun. Anyway, heading into this round of the championship then, we're into round 5, the second quarter of the season, so we can put in a new gearbox into the car. So that is good, and we can also start doing some upgrades. We're going to upgrade the MGUH durability as well as the drag reduction once again, and those will be our points of focus for the time being. So into qualifying then, and unfortunately for us it is a rainy day here in Spain. The rain in Spain falls mainly on Catalonia apparently, and today that is not ideal conditions for us. Haven't been too strong in the rain on this game so far. The rain in Spain falls mainly in this game? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, intermediate tyres are on the car and it doesn't look like the weather's...
Okay, the guys have found a leak in one of the coolant lines, so we're patching that up as we speak. Hold tight for now until we've got everything checked over.
Alright then, we eventually do get onto the track at the end of the session. I thought we might as well go at the last possible moment just to see if the conditions may be slightly better by then, but honestly I think it was pretty consistent all the way through. And we've got one of the Alpine cars of Esteban Ocon right on our tail, which is not what you want in a qualifying lap because that means you're not going fast enough. We do improve on the next lap, but it's not by a lot relative to how much time we needed to find, and unfortunately we are 22nd and last place in qualifying with a very sad time there. So yeah, that's qualifying over in a matter of seconds for us really, and we never had a chance in these conditions Oscar Piastri did out-qualify Latifi, so that's something. But yeah, that's really all we have to take away from this session. We're a long way off our teammate, who we have traditionally been a little bit faster than, so yeah, we just didn't really deliver. Maybe the conditions were actually getting worse throughout qualifying, hard to say, because I wasn't out on circuit at the start, but yeah, it's qualifying over for us, so let's just move on to the race. We have nothing else to do here.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat out this weekend. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, and Russell, Norris, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, and Kevin Magnussen, Tsunoda, Gasly, Mick Schumacher, and Vettel, Albon, Stroll, Valtteri Bottas, and Guan Yu Zhou, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Latifi, and the scientist. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Alrighty then, so here we are on the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix. So the strategy for this one is quite interesting because I'm hesitant to use both the softs and the hards. After the events of the previous episode, I'm worried the hards won't come up to temperature, but I've always struggled with tyres overheating around this circuit, and that could be an issue on the softs. So the mediums might be the only safe bet, but we only have one set of those and the tyre wear seems quite high here. We're not going to be able to go particularly far, so we'll start on mediums and plan for the softs at the end and see what happens. 5 red lights are out and we are underway for the Spanish Grand Prix, and it looks like a fairly slow start for us. We got really bogged down a little bit sideways off the start. We go to the outside, get a bit of slipstream from our teammate who's had a really awful start as well. Big lunge up the outside, no room for us though. We take to the little runoff on the side of the road to make sure we can get away with that, and we had to take a really tight line through turn 2. We're already going 3 wide and we drop into last position, give all those places back that we gained on the run into the first corner. We'll go for the lunge up the inside of our teammate though as we head into turn 4, and that is job done. What on earth was that rumbling sound outside? Anyway, we'll hope that's not the end of the world coming as we go around the outside of Nicholas Latifi. We can't quite get through though, and Latifi holds on. A big dive up the inside of Latifi, and that's a slide on the exit. Big save, and we managed to get away with it, but we do drop down into last position, and unfortunately all the work we've just done through the first few corners has come unstuck there.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
Fortunately no damage done though, so we can push on and try and make up for that through the coming laps. With the field spread over the next few laps, we should be able to gain that time back relatively easily. Unfortunately for Valtteri Bottas, he has much bigger issues. He has to make a pit stop for a new front wing, and he's somehow managed to damage that in the opening laps. I didn't see how exactly, but that sent him tumbling down the order. we eventually catch up to Piastri, and I'm thinking about going for the lunge here. We're late on the brakes, but there's no way we can make the move from there. We were too far back, and yeah, that was a test of the commitment, but yeah, just from too far back, that was never going to work. We took to the outside to make sure no contact was made, and we go again, and eventually we get a run in a much more logical place. We'll go for the move into the first corner around the outside as Piastri keeps the nose in, keeps the fire going through turn 2. We're a little bit too nice to him there, give him a lot of space. He gets back alongside us. Big slide from Piastri there as we run a little bit wide, trying to give him as much space as possible, but we both get away with it, and Piastri lucky to get away with that slide too. But anyway, we are now closing up to the back of Nicholas Latifi. We go for the lunge up the inside into the left-hander, and now Latifi with a switchback. We were a bit deep there, didn't quite make the apex, and now Latifi trying to get back around the outside as we go wheel to wheel through the right-hander, and Latifi has to lift out of that one. He doesn't quite have the downforce in the Williams car to hang it around the outside, and he drops down into 21st position, or actually 20th position, with Bottas down the order.
Oscar is into the pit lane. Oscar in the pits.
And Piastri, along with a bunch of others, in for their first stops of the day. Of course, most people starting on the soft tyres, with the exception of, I think, the Red Bulls and Aston Martins, I think, starting on the mediums. Maybe a couple of others, but they're the main ones we need to watch out for, as we are in 12th position now with all those pit stops that are being made. We continue on. We're on the back of Lance Stroll as we've got some angry cars behind us on brand new tyres, so we need to clear Stroll as fast as possible. We've got the AlphaTauris on our tail as we go for the lunge and get the move done in a very unorthodox place there, but Lance Stroll gave us the room, and we have the grip advantage over the Aston Martin at the moment, so maybe the tyre wear not great on that car, but he's got a good run out of the exit of the final corner. He goes to the inside. The AlphaTauri is looking hungry as well. Gasly and Tsunoda, they're going side by side too. Gasly looking very keen. We cut to the inside of Lance Stroll, lunge up the inside, and Pierre Gasly trying to get through as well. He goes around the outside of Lance Stroll, and he think he gets the move done there, and he does so, moving himself ahead of the Canadian. We block the inside and tell Pierre Gasly, if you want to get past us, you got to go the long way. Pierre Gasly says, I don't want to do that, and he stays behind for the time being. So that is a job done. We're up into 11th position now, so I know we haven't made a stop yet, but we are knocking on the door of the points. Plenty of action to play out in this race though. Pierre Gasly down the inside into the first corner as we're very close to squeezing him off-road there, but we're super late on the brakes, get it pulled up as well, and we remain ahead of Gasly for a little bit longer, so Pierre Gasly must be getting very frustrated with us because he's got a lot more pace. And you know, we're fighting so hard for this as there's a bit of contact there as we are sent a little bit wide by that, but Pierre Gasly getting a little bit feisty. We gave him a huge squeeze on the apex, to be fair, but we are absolutely doing everything in our power to hold him off as we continue on. It's actually not Gasly making the move, it's Tsunoda who's charging down the inside, and there's a point where we just can't come back from a car with that much straight line speed, and he gets through, and Yuki Tsunoda is clear of us. The reason I was fighting that position so hard is because we were in 11th and on the medium tyres. The more we held them up, the closer we will be to them once we pit onto the softs, and we might have a chance of catching up again. That was my theory as we continue to lose places. And
try to stay with them. They might make a mistake and we could still regain the position.
That was Sebastian Vettel getting through. He's on the softs at the moment, so I'm guessing he didn't start on the mediums or is doing maybe a 3-stop. But either way, we continue to make little mistakes and lose more and more places as we go through the lap, and wow, that's a lot of places dumped all at once as Esteban Ocon is now going around the outside. Mick Schumacher got us on the previous corner as well, so yeah, a lot just played out there. But anyway, we can now settle into a rhythm once again. We've got Alexander Albon behind us now, and even Albon's going to go for the move down the inside. With the straight line speed of that Williams car, it's quite hard to defend from them too. So yeah, with our tyres fading more and more as every lap goes on, we just don't have the grip to take it to these people on new tyres. So unfortunately, that is the end of that battle, and wow, they're really struggling now because that is the Alfa Romeo car of Zhou Guanyu getting through down the inside. But eventually we will come in for our first stop. Thank goodness we can get rid of these tyres, which are well past their use by date, and we can finally get some fresh rubber on the car. Thankfully we managed to get a pretty good stop.
Oscar's coming in for his stop now.
But
Perfect
unfortunately,
job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. All right, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy.
oh, lunge up the inside there, and we will just about stay ahead of Zhou Guanyu. So that is a close moment there. So we've actually managed to get the overcut on him. He's made another stop since we saw him last, and that means we've oh, that's going to get a bit close there on the inside as we continue to battle away with Zhou Guanyu. But we will get back ahead of him as we head through the left-hander here, turn 5, and we're ahead of Zhou Guanyu once again.
No tyre concerns at the moment. Just focus on the driving.
And no damage done from that little bit of contact there with Zhou. But what I was saying is, the last time we saw him, he was overtaking us, so he's made a stop, and we've made one later and come out in front.
Information on Sainz. They're retiring from the race.
Sainz out of the race. Let's see what the cause of that is. He's in behind George Russell, going to the move down the inside, and he's crashed into a car coming out of the pit lane, and Carlos Sainz into the wall and out of the race. What on earth happened there? We'll go on board with Carlos Sainz. It's George Russell he's trying to overtake. Russell moves him across, and Sainz is left with nowhere to go and straight into the back of Nicholas Latifi, who was, I think, about as far right as he could get as well. I think he saw the incident coming, but George Russell just escorting Sainz right into the back of Nicholas Latifi, and that is some questionable driving there, I think. But we will leave that for the stewards to decide. But as of right now, they have not noted the incident. So we will continue on. The safety car is called out. We're on board with Max Verstappen here because he's made a pit stop under safety car, and that is us going right past him on pit exit. And that's not overtaking him for position. That is us staying on the lead lap by a matter of a couple of meters. That is unbelievable luck and timing. Otherwise we would have been trapped a lap down in this race and out of contention. So that is an absolute miracle that we are still on the lead lap. If we'd lost another second at any point during this race, that would have been game over, and we would have been pretty much nowhere for the rest of it.
Track is clear, green flag.
But we're still in with a chance. And there are still many strange noises outside that I am very scared of right now, but we're not going to worry about that. That's a bit of chaos happening there. We overtake 2 or 3 cars there, as there's, I think someone's pulling off the road. We've got illegal overtakes and various things happening going on here. Cars are moving all over the place. Cars are stopping, cars are going. We're all over the place, they're all over the place. What caused all this? It is Lewis Hamilton, and he is out of the race with a mechanical failure. So it's been a chaotic race for Mercedes. And I think that, combined with blue flags, cars moving out the way for them, has caused all that chaos. So yeah, that's a shame for Lewis Hamilton. But amongst all that chaos, Sebastian Vettel has found himself with a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. So yeah, he has made a mess of that one somehow, and overtaken someone when he shouldn't have. And that means he has earned himself a 5-second penalty. The importance of that is he is on the alternative strategy to us as we go for the lunge down the inside of Albon. We're on the softer tyres right now. So with Vettel on a different strategy to us, we could be catching him towards the end. And if we can get within that 5-second window, that could work out very well. So we pit then for the final time, and a note I didn't actually get a chance to say about the pit stop strategy in this one. Our soft tyre stints were meant to be 15 laps, and when we were called into box by the engineer, I thought it was a little bit early, and it would have worked out that we had to do a 19-lap stint and an 18-lap stint.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
If I actually pit when the engineer told me. So I extended by 1 lap just to make them both 18 laps in. So Charles Leclerc is out of the race, and he was the race leader. Charles Leclerc, what a shame for him. He is out of the race with a mechanical failure. What a disaster for Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. But anyway, we are not going to worry about that. That's a free position for us as we are battling away and making the move around the outside of Alexander Albon. Nicely done there, and that brings us up into 12th position. And all we need to do is get within 5 seconds of Sebastian Vettel, which we almost are at the moment. So we are. We're 4 seconds behind.
Second a lap on the car behind. Really good stuff.
As Albon trying to make the move back on us, and this isn't really what we want to do, because we can both gain an advantage from Vettel's penalty, but if we fight each other, that is not going to be of any assistance to us. So yeah, we need to try and get away from Albon and stop this fighting between ourselves, otherwise neither of us will get ahead of him. So
okay, this is your final lap of the race.
as we continue on to the final lap, we do eventually break DRS to Albon, and he's no threat to us now, and we are well within 5 seconds of Vettel. Max Verstappen wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Great drive from him, and Sergio Perez brings home a Red Bull 1-2. So nicely done by them, and they have had a great run here. Ferrari 2 cars out of the race, so it's been unfortunate times for them, and Red Bull just furthering their advantage in the championship at the moment. But yeah, I'll finally, before we cross the line, finish my point about pit stops. We ended up doing longer stints, and I never found out why. I was never told the strategy was changing, but anyway, in the end, we will come home in 11th place after the penalty is applied for Sebastian Vettel.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And it's not points, but considering where we started, I can be pretty happy with that race, I think. And definitely the soft tyres at the end were working for us.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out of the track was: speed. It sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
So, Max Verstappen wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Sergio Perez finishes in 2nd position with George Russell in 3rd.
So let's review the drivers' standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
I have to give it to the scientists. They did a great job at getting the very most out of the tyres without losing pace. Something that's a very handy skill to have in modern Formula One.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Meanwhile, Alpine move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Okay, so the good news is the world is not ending, it's just a thunderstorm. Bad news is the rain is getting heavier as I speak right now, and it could be getting very heavy soon, so I'm going to try and get this video done before that happens. So let's take a little look at the final results of this one. Obviously we just saw the podium: Verstappen, Perez and Russell. Behind them was Lando Norris, actually, not Lewis Hamilton. He was out. So Lando Norris finishing in 4th position, Fernando Alonso, Daniel Ricciardo, Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, great race, up in 8th position in that AlphaTauri, Mick Schumacher 9th, and Esteban Ocon rounding out the top 10. And I can't help but think that maybe if we held up Ocon for a bit longer, maybe we would have had a chance of catching up to him. He was only a few seconds up the road. But anyway, In terms of the Drivers' Championship, then, we sit currently dropping further down the order in 11th position, and yeah, we lost a few spots there. Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso gaining places just ahead of us, Kevin Magnussen dropping back too. But other than that, no real change up at the top. Sergio Perez making his way up into 2nd position, 48 points behind Verstappen, but he does overtake Charles Leclerc. This is very reminiscent of the real life season just earlier on. But anyway, other than that, we'll check out the Constructors' fight, where it seems that Red Bull are going to be unbeatable this season. They're 63 points ahead of Ferrari, so they've got like an extra 50% of Ferrari's points on top of that. They're like a Ferrari and a half. Anyway, behind them it's Mercedes, who only have 63 points. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Literally, Red Bull are better or as good as Mercedes and Ferrari combined this season. That's how it is. We drop a spot in the Constructors though. Unfortunately, Alpine overtake us, but we're still ahead of Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin and Williams, so we're not doing a bad job overall. But yeah, that is the way that's going at the moment. So yeah, with all of that said, let's move on to all of the HQ stuff for this episode. And there's the Thunder. Not sure if the microphone picked that up or not. But anyway, we beat Vettel, and I didn't even mention it, I should have. He's our rival. Yeah, so beating him in that race, with him getting that penalty, is crucial for our rivalry points. So yeah, I should have mentioned that during the race, but anyway, you see it now. We beat him, so that is good, and that gives us a head start in our first rivalry in this game. $147,000 in the bank. We managed to not cut corners in this race and do get our sponsorship bonus. And unfortunately, both myself and Piastri suffering some damages and don't get the full funding potential there. So anyway, still have no idea how that last little screen there works about the damages and stuff. But anyway, let's see. We can assign a new sponsor, so let's have a little look around. Okay, so I think we're going to go with Salve as our next sponsor. Their goal is to beat our rival, which is something we're trying to do anyway. Their goal bonus and weekly income aren't great, but the goal bonus is no good if it's something we can't achieve, which is the case for almost all of the higher payout sponsors. So this is really the best one that we have that is a safe bet. And there is the Thunder. I'm not sure if the microphone picked that up or not, but yeah, it's around. But anyway, you would have seen in the background there, we just purchased our next lot of driver perks. We could afford all of those. We add our new sponsor to the car, as well as darkening the shade of blue a little bit. As for the activity timeline, we have time to do everything. We now go through the timeline towards the next event, and we get the status upgrade successfully on the car. We continue through the timeline again then, and we get the heave dampers upgrade, as well as the reprofiled side pods. As we go through, they are also successful. We're not failing many upgrades so far. Don't want to jinx it, but things are going pretty well so far for us. And we have enough resource points now, and we're going to go for a fuel efficiency upgrade as well. Anyway, we continue through the timeline again and arrive at the Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge. We have the choice of an average speed zone or a rival duel, which I don't know what that is, so that'll be interesting. We get to drive the McLaren 720S, which is a major selling point as well. But anyway, that is for next time. For this time, I'll say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give us some feedback in the comments. It's always very helpful. Other than that, I will see you next time. Goodbye.